There's a doctor, Shavita Raju, on Twitter saying, based on what I've seen in adults, I can assure you parents feeling pressure to vaccinate 12 to 15-year-olds will not be eager to report adverse events, especially not to doctors. No one wants to admit their child had an adverse event from an intervention that was rushed, mainly because parents don't want to admit that they failed their children, or that they don't want to seem crazy. Like, I don't know, like, I don't want to, the doctors know best. This is unrelated. And the other thing is the parent has to admit fault if the child actually has something that's come up. You know, heaven forbid, like, as a parent, justifying that situation, like, oops. You know, parents who've pushed transgender therapies on their children, like, under the age of 12, 11, 10. I'd like to see the long-term studies of those children who reverse that in adulthood. What would the parents think? Because ultimately, that wasn't the child's choice. That was the parent's choice in that regard. And I'm pro-trans, absolutely pro-LGBTQ. But when it comes to kids, that choice for treatment is not the child's. At that age, it's not. They don't have the ability to make that choice for themselves. It's the parents. Imagine a parent taking their child who's perfectly healthy to get an mRNA vaccine for a pandemic that seems to be coming to an end, and that child ends up with long-term health effects. And the only reason to take that vaccine right now, you could get it later, a year from now. The only reason to get it now is because of social pressure, peer pressure, like drinking in college or something like that. That's crazy. Get the vaccine. Talk to your doctor, please. Do it. But you have to do it right now? Why right now? What's the issue? We're already talking about opening things up. So what is the pressure to push it right now? I agree. An ICU nurse, same thing. I want to wait to see what happens with the studies. Sure, that's healthy. You can do it next year. Things are already opening up, allegedly. Even Gavin Newsom, whether it's through political pressure or not, that's psychopath, eating at the French Laundry, telling everyone to stay home, not wearing a mask. He's like, no, June 15th, we're ease mask policies. Who are you, Nostradamus? People could be bleeding from their noses, according to Dr. Fauci, and like from their eye sockets. You can't do that. It's awful. It's all about self-interest. The guy obviously needs, California to be doing better. He's in trouble. He's a transgender Republican running to take his seat. He has to do something. See what happens when people think these progressive ideas, the health and safety of the community, of the LGBT community, of the black community, of the people. It's not about individuals. It's about the community. When it comes to the reality situation, all these assholes, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian politicians, they're self-serving assholes. Not all the time, but for the most part, they're looking out for themselves. And it's just funny that you think Dr. Fauci is this independent genius. Really? I mean, I don't know. I don't know any doctor that would argue that antibodies are better or not as good as a vaccine. And yet, here you are. You better get the vaccine. Is it proven to stop the spread of the virus? Well, it's not entirely clear. Potentially. Yeah, I don't know.